Welcome to the Masterclass, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled you're tuning in today. Now, if you're gearing up for the EIKEN Grade 1 exam, you already know the deal. A massive, high-level vocabulary isn't just nice to have. It's literally your most powerful weapon. But here's the thing. Today, we're not just going to mindlessly memorize definitions. No way. We're going to truly master 25 elite English words by digging into their core imagery, their etymology, and those absolutely vital collocations. I promise you, mastering these specific words is going to instantly elevate both your essay writing and your speaking scores. This right here, this is exactly where you outshine your rivals. So bring your full focus and let's get into it.
Okay, let's look at how we're breaking this down. To really lock this vocabulary into your permanent memory, we're grouping these 25 expressions into 5 distinct, vivid scenarios. 1. The detective's investigation. 2. Espionage and covert operations. 3. Business crisis and recovery. 4. Nature and market energy, and finally, number 5, political scandals and justice. By attaching these words to powerful mental images, you're going to naturally understand exactly how to deploy them when you're sitting in that exam room.
All right, starting off with Section 1, the detective's investigation, uncovering the truth. I want you to picture a dark, mysterious crime scene. The words in this toolkit are absolutely perfect for when you need to discuss crime, deep mysteries, or uncovering hidden truths in your essay.
Now, what's really fascinating is the core imagery behind each of these words. Let's unpack them. First up, we have cove. Unlike a vast open sea, a cove is a small, protected bay that sort of holds the land tightly. You'll definitely want to use collocations like a secluded cove or a sheltered cove. Then there's conjecture. This literally means throwing facts together without any solid proof. Let me tell you, this is an absolute killer phrase for your EIKEN essay. Writing that a claim is pure conjecture or that it fuels conjecture sounds incredibly sophisticated. Next, we've got delve, which means to dig deeply. We also have scavenge, which is all about recovering value from waste, like how animals might scavenge for food or people might scavenge through trash. Finally, ensue. You have to know this verb. It means something follows immediately after an event, kind of like a cascading domino effect, and it usually implies a negative reaction. Notice the collocation, chaos ensued. You don't just say chaos happened, you say chaos ensued after a specific trigger.
Let's take a closer look at delve, because this is a fantastic word. Originating from the Old English word for dig, this verb goes way beyond just the superficial examination. I want you to picture yourself physically thrusting your hands deep into the earth or aggressively digging past layers and layers of data to uncover a hidden truth. If you want to really impress the EIKEN examiner, stop using the word investigate in every single sentence. Instead, tell them we must delve deeply into the root cause. It shows a deep, aggressive pursuit of knowledge, and it instantly signals a really advanced level of proficiency.
Let's lock this vocabulary in with a synthesized memory sentence. Listen closely to how native speakers naturally flow these words together. The detective assumed the incident occurred near a quiet cove based on pure conjecture. As they began to delve into the scene and scavenge for evidence, sheer chaos ensued. I mean, imagine that scene vividly. The quiet, hidden bay, the baseless guessing, the aggressive digging, the search through the dirt, and then that sudden, cascading chaos. That right there is how you command the English language.
Keeping that high energy rolling, let's transition right into Section 2, espionage and covert operations, navigating high-stakes conflict. Now, when you get hit with a prompt about global conflicts, organizational structures, or international relations during your interview, these words are absolutely essential.
So the crucial takeaway here is understanding the nuanced conflict that's built right into these expressions. Sectarian describes clinging to a cut-off faction, essentially excluding the whole. Sectarian conflict or sectarian violence are phrases you simply must know for global issue prompts. Then look at liaison. Think of a liaison as a lubricating bridge, a binding line between two completely disconnected points. For instance, you might act as a liaison between two warring departments. Then we have fortify, which means building an impenetrable fortress against outside pressure. You could physically fortify the defenses of a city or strategically fortify the economy. We've also got torture, representing severe pain, and mutter, which perfectly captures the imagery of muffling your negative energy. It's keeping your anger hidden by speaking very quietly, like when you mutter under one's breath or mutter discontent.
Let's shine a spotlight on torture for a second. The etymology here is actually fascinating. It's derived from the Latin word torque, which literally means to twist. So the core image isn't just some generic pain. It's the extreme agony caused by unnaturally twisting or distorting someone's natural state. And here's a golden tip for the exam. Torture isn't just physical. It's a brilliant metaphorical tool. You can use a phrase like mental torture to vividly describe severe mental anxiety or the intense distress caused by an uncertain, high-pressure situation in your essays.
Let's see this in action. Feel the dramatic cadence of these elite words coming together. The liaison infiltrating the sectarian base learned of plans to fortify the stronghold. Upon capture, they endured severe torture, only able to mutter complaints through the pain. By visualizing this super high-stakes scenario, you're naturally binding together the concepts of factions, bridges, defenses, twisting pain, and muffled complaints.
All right, let's shift gears completely to the corporate world with Section 3, Business Crisis and Recovery, Surviving the Corporate Plunge. Business, economics, corporate strategy, these are incredibly common EIKEN Grade 1 topics. You can't just rely on basic vocabulary here. You need sophisticated words that convey really precise movements and emotions.
Let's rapid fire through these corporate lifesavers. First, shortcoming. It quite literally means falling short of a required standard. In your essays, you're often going to write about how we must address inherent shortcomings or overcome structural shortcomings. Next is plummet, which means a dramatic vertical drop. Contrast that disastrous drop with queasy, an internal unsteadiness or nausea. And we're not just talking about a turbulent flight here, but a queasy feeling of anxiety regarding unstable global markets. But hey, there's hope. Look at solace. This is a quiet light of rescue in the darkness. We often find solace in something comforting or offer sole solace to someone struggling. And finally, whip up. Imagine physically stirring up a vortex of wind with your own hands. You can whip up public enthusiasm to totally re-energize a failing team.
I really want to pause on plummet for a moment. This word is rooted in the word plumb, which was a heavy lead weight used in construction. I want you to literally visualize a massive, heavy lead weight dropping straight down. Plummet is not a slow decline. It is an uncontrollable, gravity-driven vertical plunge. So never, ever use plummet for a minor decrease. Reserve this incredibly powerful word only for dramatic, newsworthy drops, like when you need to explain how profits plummet dramatically after a massive scandal.
Let's tie these into our business narrative. Due to structural shortcomings, our profits began to plummet, leaving the team feeling queasy. Finding solace in mutual support, they quickly whipped up their motivation. Notice how whipped up acts just like a sudden gust of wind, aggressively lifting the team right back up after that devastating fall. It's the absolute perfect linguistic rebound.
Moving right along to our fourth vignette, Section 4, Nature and Market Energy, the ecosystem of vitality. What's so brilliant about this specific set of vocabulary is that it beautifully bridges the gap between scientific, environmental essays and vibrant descriptions of market dynamics.
Here is your ecosystem toolkit. A basin is literally a bowl holding water and heat, which is perfect for phrases like a river basin ecosystem or a severe heat basin. Composition is all about intricately putting elements together, such as describing a chemical composition or an exact composition. Now pay really close attention to the word predatory, which basically means consuming the weak. Native speakers uniquely use this in a dual way. Sure, you can talk about a predatory species in a forest, but you can also talk about aggressive corporate takeovers using predatory pricing in the market. It works for both. Then we have dawdle, which means purposefully wasting time or just dragging your feet. You might dawdle in disclosing important information. And finally, ebullience, which means boiling over with absolute energy. And that perfectly illustrates our next deep dive, ebullience. The origin here is the Latin ebullere, which literally means to boil over. It describes a state where enthusiasm and vitality are bubbling up from the inside, completely unable to be contained. Guys, this is an absolute top-tier elite word. If you drop the word ebullience to describe the recovery of a community or a sudden boom in the economy, it is going to immediately signal your advanced proficiency to the examiner. Listen to how vibrant this language becomes when you combine it, overlooking the basin's beautiful composition, predatory birds soared. Instead of dawdling, we reached the market which was bursting with natural ebullience. You can almost feel the momentum building in that sentence, right? Finishing so strongly on that incredible boiling energy of ebullience.
All right, let's move into our final section. Number 5, Political Scandals and Justice, the Scales of Power. We are going to maintain a strictly neutral, impartial tone when discussing these topics, but I absolutely must stress this. Mastering these political and legal terms is totally non-negotiable for EIKEN Grade 1 success. You are going to face these topics, for sure.
So let's unpack these heavyweight concepts. A coalition is a strategic, temporary union formed for a common goal. Often in politics, you'll talk about the need to form a governing coalition or build a broad coalition. Vulgar originally meant of the common mob, but today we use it to mean crude and lacking refinement, like vulgar remarks or a vulgar display of wealth. Buoyant is just a fantastic adjective. It implies a resilient upward push floating against downward pressure. So a buoyant market is one that simply refuses to sink despite economic turmoil. We also have unbiased, meaning a perfectly balanced scale, and jurisdiction, which acts as the boundary line of legal or federal power, like when a case might fall under federal jurisdiction.
I want you to focus really deeply on unbiased. The core image here is a perfectly balanced scale with zero extra weight on either side. It represents a state completely stripped of personal prejudice, emotion, or outside influence. In your writing exams, unbiased is the absolute gold standard adjective to use when you're describing journalism, judicial decisions, academic research, or third-party committees. You always want to advocate for an unbiased assessment or unbiased coverage.
Here is our final synthesized memory story. Just listen to the sheer density of high-level vocabulary packed into this one natural English sentence. After forming a governing coalition, a vulgar scandal emerged, yet the buoyant economy held strong as the case fell under the jurisdiction of an unbiased judge. Mastered that sentence, and you absolutely master the political domain of the exam.
And there you have it, 25 elite words completely mastered. You didn't just passively memorize some definitions today. You absorbed the core imagery, the etymology, and those crucial high-level collocations. You now have the exact tools to not just recognize these words on paper, but to actually wield them with absolute confidence in your essays and interviews.
Before we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a quick challenge to immediately activate your new vocabulary. Tell me in the comments below, when the pressure of studying gets to be just a little too much, what is your ultimate source of solace? Think about that quiet light of rescue we talked about, and let us know. Keep practicing, stay focused, and I will see you in the next explainer.